Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be. I'm Agadiama. I'm Head Regional Information and Smart Food Coordinator for the semi-arid tropic, based in Bamako, in Mali. And I'm joining today to be the facilitator of this session. So on behalf of the coordinating committee of the CGIAR-led group, ERG for Women in Research and Science, WIRES, I'm pleased to welcome you to the launch of something new. Welcome to the launch of WIRES. WIRES stands for Women in Research and Science. This is a new cross-system volunteer-led group of people who are passionate about women in research and science, especially at the CGIAR. Way back in June 2020, the call went across the CGIAR through all the human resource function for anyone who's interested in starting a system-wide group to promote women in research and science. A group of people diverse in age, nationality, gender, discipline, and duty session got quickly together with the help of the Gender Diversity and Inclusion function at the CGIAR to think about the topic of women in research and science, and to think about what we could do as volunteer, because this group is first of all a volunteer group to help promote women in research and science in CGIAR. Today, here we are, here to launch WIRES, Women in Research and Science. Today, we are very honored to be joined by distinguished guests. Claudia Seda, CGIAR Executive Management Team Convener and Managing Director of Research Delivery and Impact. Alice Rueza, CGIAR System Board Member and Gender Diversity and Inclusion Champion. Chin Yishan, scientist at World Fish. Neil Gutterson, CGIAR System Board Member, also a GDI champion. Safa Kumari, head of the Seed Health Lab at ICARDA and plant virologist, who has been acknowledged on the BBC's 100 Women 20 list. So very important guest with us today to launch this event and to discuss with us on the topic of women in research and science. Thank you all for taking time from your busy schedule to join and participate in this event. Your participation is a sign of your passion and commitment to this particular topic. Given today's attendance, as we begin now, we accept the speakers will be muted, and also we have a translation service in this call. So we are providing interpretation in French, Spanish, and Arabic. The translation service are available on the bottom of your screen. Please check. And also we will have a Q&A session, and the same also on the bottom of screen. With this, and without no ado, I would like now to welcome Fiona Budel-Faren, CGIAR System Senior Advisor on Gender, Diversity, and Inclusion, to get the program started for today. So, Fiona, welcome, and over to you.
Thanks so much, Agatha. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. As Agatha said, my name is Fiona, and I lead the system support function that aims to advance gender equity, diversity, and inclusion in our CGIAR global workplaces. I work across disciplines and functions, helping leaders and managers and staff think through how best to embed diversity and inclusion into the way that we work and the things that we do. I'm really excited to join today's launch of WIRES. It's the culmination of many months of hard work from a number of dedicated volunteers. And in a busy time of one CGIAR change, they've still managed to find the time to come together to create something new. As Agatha said, this is a new space dedicated to supporting women in research and science in CGIAR. Before we kick off today's session, we thought it would be useful to just give a very short introduction to the concept of employee-led resource groups, especially for those who are not so familiar with what an ERG is. So let's ask the question, what exactly is an ERG? Well, put simply, they're safe spaces where people can come together because they have things in common. Being a member of an ERG is like being part of a work club based on shared characteristics or life experiences such as culture or race, ethnicity, or where people have a common interest, such as in women in research and science. ERGs are created by and for staff and usually run by volunteers who are passionate about the topic and who'd like to meet and help other colleagues who share their interests. The second question you might have is, why are we setting up ERGs? Well, if we go to the next slide, we can see that we're doing it simply because when ERGs work, they make a real difference. They make a difference to people's sense of workplace happiness, and they make our work environments more inclusive. This is why they're very clearly laid out as an objective in our action plan for advancing gender equity, diversity, and inclusion. From a staff perspective, they build bridges, especially between people who are separated by geography and discipline and structure, and they connect people. They provide support, they make introductions, and they help people find other people that they have things in common with. Now, from an organization perspective, they lead to greater staff engagement, which leads to a more improved motivation, morale, and innovation. And they're great sounding boards as we go through change to ask for insights on draft policies or processes. So if we go to the last point, why are we launching ERGs now? Well, very simply because they're an important part of what we're trying to do, which is working to create a diverse and inclusive workplace that's welcome to everybody. Accordingly, the vision for ERGs, including WIRES, is to be open to everybody, to all people from across our global community who wish to join. As I wrap up and get ready to hand over to Agat, my last note here is that WIRES is only one of 3 ERGs that currently exist in CGIAR. We have another one called Wellness at CGIAR, which many of you know launched last October with its first event. And we have another ERG, which is getting ready to launch soon, called FAIR. And FAIR stands for the Forum Against Inequality and Racism. So lots of really exciting work on ERGs getting ready in the next few weeks. But today, it's an exciting day to see the WIRES Coordination Committee work come to fruition. I wish WIRES every success. Right back to you, Agat.
Thanks so much, Fiona. And one take-home message, you mentioned about GDI framework and action plan. GDI, the Gender Diversity and Inclusion Framework and Action Plan. We want to know more about this. And for this particular question, we have a poll. And the question we have is, do you know where to find the GDI framework and action plan? So the question is very simple, and it's only 2 answers possible. It's yes or no. The question is, do you know where to find the GDI framework and action plan? So let's see what the answers are. And okay, Fiona, I may get back to you and ask you what's the right answer to this.
Well, it looked like the majority of our colleagues are kind of vaguely familiar or not so sure. So this is a marvelous opportunity for me to ask Thomas to point you directly where you can go to find the GDI framework and action plan. What you're seeing up here is you're seeing a link to the Knowledge Hub. But for those of you who don't wish to go straight into the Knowledge Hub, you can go straight to cgiar.org webpage. You can click on how we work and then use the drop-down menu to select the GDI webpage, and everything you need to know about GDI is in there. So feel free to connect with us through that webpage or through some of the links that you'll see later on. Thanks so much, Agat, and back to you.
Thank you, Fiona. Now we know where to find the GDI framework. Thanks so much. And now that we have shared the vision of what an ERG is, you must be asking what will this new ERG do? And in coming together a few months ago, we have to ask ourselves the same question. At the time when we were busy with many things, including the lockdowns, and why will we volunteers in this group to focus on women in research and science? Where are we heading to, and what you can expect from us if you decide to become a member of this new ERG? So many questions. For more insights, I would like to call upon Aparna Das. Aparna is a founding member of WIRES. She will take us through the mission of WIRES. Aparna Das is a technical program manager at the Global Maize program at Smith. Aparna, welcome to you, and over to you for this.
Thank you, Agat. I am delighted to introduce WIRES. And as mentioned by Agat, I am a breeder by training, and presently I'm working as the technical program manager in CIMIT, and I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya. It is an honor for me to be one of the founding members of this ERG and be associated with a cause which is so important for the motivation, morale, and innovation of the women scientists, researchers, and professionals in the One CGIAR. Our founding members come from many parts of CG, from early career to senior level researchers, as well as from the systems office. And they also come from across all the science group action areas, from systems transformation, resilient agri-food systems, through genetic innovations. And we also welcome all of you to join WIRES who are interested in promoting the interest of women, enhance communication, research collaboration, and career mentoring among all the group members. Our mission is to increase the visibility of women research and science professionals by ensuring their voices are heard and contributions are recognized. Our goal, Thomas, can we go to the next slide? Our goal is to connect and inspire its members by providing tools and share knowledge that support professional development. We organize and sponsor events and activities that build workplace relationship as well as strengthen work and alliances across CGIAR. WIRES also promotes the interests of women, enhances communication, research collaboration, and career mentoring among all group members. So what can the WIRES member expect? So if you're joining this, what all you can expect from us is inclusivity. You will be part of a group that's strengthening inclusivity across CGIAR. Motivation. You motivate colleagues with vital information about women in research and science. And of course, pride. Contribute to CGIAR's mission and help people access ideas that can inspire change, benefiting individuals, families, and communities. We welcome and encourage all of you to join WIRES and build this team together. Thank you so much, and I will now hand over to Agat for the next session.
Thank you very much, Aparna, for this insightful information about the journey of WIRES, Women in Research and Science. In case you are just joining, please note that we are joined by guest speakers, including Claudia Sadov, CGIAR Executive Management Team Convener and Managing Director of Research Delivery Impact, Alice Ruiza, CGIAR System Board Member and GDI Champion, Xin Yishan, Scientist at World Fish, Neil Gutterson, CGIAR System Board Member and GDI Champion, and Safa Kumari, plant virologist, acknowledged on the BBC's 100 Women 20 list. At this point, I would like now to welcome Inga Jacob Mata, a member of WIRES, who is also a country representative of IMI, International Water Management Institute in South Africa. Will be moderating our today's discussion with the guest speakers. So Inga, welcome to, and please over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Agat. Thank you, Fiona and Aparna, for sharing where we come from and where we're going with WIRES. Really, this is a journey in so many respects. It's about our personal journeys as women in research. It's a journey of an ERG, but it's also a journey of an organization in transition. So now we continue in this vein to engage different representatives from across the CG on these different journeys and explore with them further some of the challenges and opportunities that women face in research for development. And we will do so now in a modified virtual fishbowl format. So Thomas, if I can just ask you to load the slides, thank you. So many of you will be familiar with the well-known facilitation technique, that is the fishbowl, where in the physical setting, we have two circles of chairs where the inner circle comprises of participants who actively participate and discuss issues, while the outer circle comprises of observers of that discussion. So of course, now in the virtual space, our inner circle comprises of those with their cameras enabled, those 5 discussants that we have invited to share their thoughts with us all today. And the outer circle is everyone else tuning into this discussion. It's you in the audience today. So welcome again. We have 5 participants in the fishbowl, but only 3 of them will be participating at any given time. So I hope everyone likes dancing or at least music, because this will hopefully be a well-coordinated flow of voices and faces and inputs in and out of the inner circle. Audience, please, colleagues joining in, please share your questions and comments in the Q&A function. And also we will have a poll at the end of the fishbowl to really get your further insights on what the priorities can be for WIRES. So we will follow a 4-part discussion. Looking at, first of all, the discussants have so kindly agreed to share a personal story, a personal lesson from their life. And then we look at exploring challenges and opportunities for women in research, looking at how we advance gender equity in the one CGIAR workplace. And lastly, end with, what should WIRES focus on? What do you think the value add of WIRES could be? So now I'd like to ask everyone to switch off their cameras, if you don't mind, and I'd like to welcome to the inner circle the first 3 participants, Claudia, Alice, and Chen Yi. So please, Claudia, Alice, and Chen Yi, please could you switch on your cameras? Hi, there you all are. It's great to have you with us. Thank you so much. And we kick off then the discussion with the first part, and that's just to hear from you, a personal life lesson that you've learned on your journey. Claudia, so great to have you with us. We miss you, but we're not far apart. So really great to have you. Let's maybe kick it off with you. If you can please share with us one of the most important lessons you have learned on your journey as a woman scientist in R4D.
Well, thank you, Inga. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Agath, and everyone who's put this event together. I am so delighted to be with you. I think the work of this group is really just so exciting. To share a life lesson, I'm afraid that I can't come up with something terribly unique, because I believe that this is a life lesson we all know is the top of the lesson and it never leaves us. My lesson really is always to jump in, to stay strong, and to be true to yourself. I feel it takes me a nudge to jump in. When you know you have something to offer, to step forward, to use your voice, to be heard, because using your voice and being heard isn't always the same, to advocate for what you believe in, to advocate to yourself, for yourself. It all sounds very simple, but it is truly not. And sometimes it's not even easy for all of us to recognize how much we do have to offer. Sometimes you almost have to look at yourself through the eyes of your best friend or your own best advocate to realize that, yes, you could do that. You could do that really well. And you need to be given the space to step up, to jump in. And I have to say, quite honestly, even at this stage in my life, I have to consciously nudge myself forward regularly. It's a lesson we go on living every day. And that's the other part of it, is to stay strong, because there are days when it's exhausting, when the bias and the micro insults and the slights and the inertia of it all just feels exhausting. It's tempting to just say, please, someone else, you push forward for a little while. But it really matters to stay strong. It matters for you to fulfill your own potential, and it really matters for those around you. There's an energy that we create if we all insist that the world works a different way. And in this regard, I have to say, I'm an American citizen, and I can say that again today. I hope many of you will have seen the inauguration yesterday. And I remember just after the inauguration of President Trump, I was out on the Women's March, as I imagine several in this virtual room were. And there were women my age and my mother's age carrying signs that said, "I can't believe I'm still protesting this." It felt like we weren't making progress. And yesterday, how inspiring, how inspiring. Obviously, Kamala Harris, our first female elected into the White House, first Black, first Asian. She was sworn in by the first Latina Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, Sotomayor. The new cabinet they're bringing in is full of firsts. Our first Native American, our first openly gay cabinet member, our first Black Secretary of Defense, our first female Secretary of Treasury, our first Latino lead for the Department of Health and Human Services, our first woman to lead the US intelligence community. And for anyone who missed Amanda Gorman, the youth poet laureate, the 23-year-old Black woman who stepped forward with just breathtaking talent and poise to bless the ceremony in poetry, watch her on YouTube. The papers this morning are all saying that the United States has changed its face of power. And that is so inspiring, I think, to all of us. So even at those moments when you personally feel exhausted, see what more you can do to inspire others. But I say this with the one caveat, and this is my third point, is stay true to yourself, right? Because it's really about fulfilling your potential and doing your part. It's about making your choices. So there may be positions or projects or opportunities that you're fully qualified for, that you could do really well, but for whatever your reasons, you don't want to. And that's fine too. Because what we're fighting for here is that no one else should set limits for us, for any woman or for any person. But it's also about agency. It's also about who we want to be and what we consider fulfilling our potential. And that's a very personal thing that every woman, every person is entitled to make. So jump in, stay strong, and stay true to yourself. Thanks, Inga.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Claudia. And I think a lot of what you said resonated. I know several of us colleagues experience imposter syndrome. That's what you're also talking about. And I really like this idea of looking at ourselves through the eyes of our BFF. So that, I think, is one of those taglines for today. I'm now going to move on to Alice, Alice Ruiza. Alice, you're on our systems board now. You're our GDI champion. Please share with us some of the lessons that you have learned along the way.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Inga, and thank you so much for having me today. I agree with you, Claudia. Yesterday was mesmerizing, just to see Amanda Gorman and to see Kamala Harris and all that whole ceremony was great. So my journey, 2 years ago, I joined an expedition of women scientists to Antarctica. Now, this group of 80 women were trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do here, is raise women's voices, to influence, to be stronger in matters of the planet. And our motto was, Mother Nature needs her daughters. Women are Earth mothers. And we were lamenting the fact that, why are we not speaking louder for planet Earth? Why are we not speaking louder for science when Mother Nature needs us? And so they took us to Antarctica because they wanted to get us out of our busy schedules and force us to do this self-reflection, almost like what Claudia is saying. Why am I here? It's not so much what you do. Yes, you're excellent. You do your excellent science, but why do you do it? Why you? And so that's the personal thing. That's introspection. Why do I do this? And they really brought us back to really think about our values, to bring the values. What are your values? And how can you bring those values to the workplace every single day? They chided us as women. Sometimes we're just, we're so busy. We just go to work and we leave our values at home and we go to work and do the work and come back home. And they was like, no, bring those values to the workplace. Be brave. Jump in and bring those values and push for what you believe in. And be visible. But also agree that if you're visible, you're also going to be vulnerable, but accept that vulnerability that comes with being visible. And create these open spaces and bring optimism. Push and always be optimistic. And don't have this thing of saying, this sometimes self-fulfilling prophecy of saying, I can't do it. I don't think I can do it. No, always be optimistic and always push it. So I learned a lot on that trip, that I really learned to bring those values, to sit back and think about not so much what I'm going to do, but why am I doing this? Why am I here? And really take that to the workplace.
That's
Over.
great. Thank you, Alice. Just, the line that stuck with me was accept the vulnerability that comes with being visible. I really like that, and you have to be brave to do that. So now another brave scientist is Chen-Yi Chan, a scientist at World Fish. Chen-Yi, great to have you with us. Please share with us also a little bit of your personal journey as you're sort of, emerging and you're growing into your career and into your space. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Inga, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm Chen-Yi, scientist from WorldFish, based in headquarters Penang in Malaysia. It's my great pleasure today, and I'm flattered to be here to share my experiences with other prestigious CG panelists today, Dr. Claudia, Dr. Neil, Alice, and also Dr. Safa. As a women scientist, science is my aspiration, so I embrace it and I enjoy the journey even though with some challenges. So let me share my brief stories and some lessons learned throughout my scientific journey. My research background is relatively diverse. I started my graduate studies in chemistry about 20 years ago. After graduation, I embarked on my first biochemical research positions in the United States. With my lab coat on, working with fragile glassware, taking care of fish facilities and collecting fish embryos, handling delicates and expensive instruments, writing scientific papers, and etc. And overall, I enjoyed them, and I recall how happy and fulfilled I was when my very first peer-reviewed papers was accepted. But 4 years later, the lab was shut down during the financial crisis period, and I left my wonderful research team. So the lesson I learned is never give up, but keep learning to expand the research horizon. When one door closes, another window opens. So very soon, I joined another distinguished clinical research team. I embarked on a new journey, collecting human data at the bedside, conduct clinical randomized control trial, running biostatistical analysis, writing manuscripts, submitting grant proposals, presenting at different international conferences, etc. So overall, this total 8 years of extensive research training in the States is remarkable. But again, due to my family relocation, I left my supportive mentors and friends in the States and back to my lovely hometown, Malaysia. Again, never gave up my aspiration, but to connect all my past learning dots for exploring new opportunities. So in 2013, I returned to Malaysia and soon started on a new research journey in one of the CGIAR center, WorldFish. My research focuses on fish foresight modeling. And since then, I have traveled across the globe, particularly in Africa, in Southeast Asia, South Asia, to conduct stakeholder consultation workshops and doing field work. Two foresight studies I have published as the lead author have laid the foundations for the future WorldFish research strategy to 2030. So there's always uncertainties in life, including in the research career, particularly in this fast changing environment. But if we take it adaptively step by step and never give up, it will be a rewarding journey. Thank you. Over to you, Unga.
Thanks so much, Chinyi, and also just emphasizing, the need to be adaptive and resilient in a way. So well done to you as well. Let's now move to the second part of our discussion, and here I'm going to ask Alice. You can take a breather, and I'm going to now bring in Safa Kumari. So Safa, you're very welcome to switch on your camera. There you are. Good to have you on board. You're one of our academic rock stars. Congratulations again on the recognition, the BBC recognition. Let's talk now a little bit about the challenges and opportunities for women in R4D. So Claudia, from your perspective, a successful senior scientist, now convener of the EMT, what challenges do you see facing women in research for development, and how would you like to see one CGIAR evolve in terms of supporting women scientists in their careers?
Thank you, Inga. And I can't start without saying congratulations to Safa. I'm sure everyone who doesn't have an open mic right now would like to say the same. We're so proud to be associated with you and your work, and this recognition. Again, it's inspiring to all of us. So congratulations. My hope, perhaps in a nutshell, for CGIAR is that we become a space in which women gain the sort of recognition that Safa's important work has just gained. So how do we create that space? How do we become that space in which this recognition and this change can be anchored? We have really made some great strides globally in the number of women in R4D positions, and recently also in the CGIAR, we had set some goals for diversity, which were largely met in the last 2 years, and we now have communities of practice and groups like WIRES. We have Fiona's tireless efforts, so we really have momentum right now, but we know that we still have a very, very long way to go. We know that our workplaces, just like all workplaces, weren't created with diversity in mind, that there is unconscious bias that is baked into our workplaces, into our policies, into our practices, into our culture. We have a proud 50-year culture of science, but there are other aspects of the culture perhaps that aren't as proud and that need to transform more quickly. It's in the words people use. It's the things we feel free to say and do and ask for, or not feeling, that we don't feel free to say and do and ask for. We need to identify these biases. We need to address them, and we need to deal with all of their consequences, including where our policies and practices have been gender blind. At this moment of transformation in the 1CG, we are refreshing all of these policies. It's a wonderful moment for us to look with new glasses in problem solving. And we recognize also the importance of how intersectional the nature of the challenges are, because it's intersectional in that women have multiple identities. They have multiple strengths, weaknesses, and aspirations. We don't all want the same things. But we do deserve a workplace that is enabling and inclusive, where everyone is safe and respected, and where everyone can speak up and know that they will be heard when they do, know that they will be given the benefit of the doubt when they do, and all appropriate protections and support, where they have learning and developing and mentoring support to reach their full potential. We know that with the creation of the GDI framework and the launch of the function, we're working toward achieving this in the new 1CGIAR global culture. And a word just on this new culture that we are creating, because in a reform, we create a new culture. Let us really work at this moment to create mindfully in that culture a space that champions diversity and that really challenges us to create a new 1CG that fulfills our aspirations, not just our expectations of what the next step may be, but our aspirations to be a leader in the sort of workplace that we know this incredibly capable and diverse gathering of people on the line right now. We know that we're capable of so much contribution. So thank you, Inga.
Thanks, Claudia. And I mean, you've raised one of these really key challenges, you know, the unconscious biases that we have to deal with, the hidden phrasings and so on. Safa, as a, you know, globally recognized researcher, what would you say if you had some advice to offer, you know, CGIAR leadership in terms of really creating this inclusive workplace? What are some of that advice that you would give to colleagues?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen over the world. Many thanks for the organization, to the organizer to invite me to join this very important activity or the meetings. I'm originally, but just I will give you a summary about myself. I'm originally from Aleppo, Syria. I'm working for International Center for Agricultural Research in the dry area, ICARDA, based in Lebanon. My current position is head of ICARDA Seed Health Laboratory, and I'm a plant virologist. I joined ICARDA in 1986 as a casual labor, and 17 years later, I appointed in the highest position at the lab as ICARDA plant virologist. 20 years later, I was appointed as the head of ICARDA Seed Health Laboratory, and recently I was selected in the BBC 100 Women 2020 list. This mainly for the highly achievement of my plant virology research. During this journey for I can say 36 years between 86 until now, one thing I learned from all this, the harder I work, the luckier I get. What I would like to advise for the CGIAR leader can do to create a comprehensive workplace for women scientists and researchers. If they want to recruit top skills that includes women, and then they need to consider what the organization has to offer women. It's not just about what they have to offer them, but what makes the organization stand out as the best possible employer. Here, I would like to mention a few things that would facilitate attracting and retaining women scientists across the CGIAR. Better work-life balance. A small intervention can make a big difference to women's experience, helping them to feel confident and safe in the workplace. Supporting women's health in the workplace, creating a workplace culture that enables women to feel supported and safe to talk about their health and to understand that they are not alone is very important. Better maternity leave or paternity leave, full salary maintenance during maternity leave, or extend maternity leave period to 1 year plus 1 additional year with a flexible working arrangement. Allocated resources to support recruitment female staff to fill the gaps during maternity leave. Child facilities within the CGIAR centers. Women need to feel secure at the workplace and know that management take care of their well-being and gladness. Equal salary across gender for similar for similar position. Leadership team must understand the legal issue associated with the gender discrimination. Flexible working hour at balanced work and family duty so that women work from home as needed, offering women scientists part-time research opportunity. Encourage women to present their work at scientific conference, focusing on women staff appreciation, research grant for women female scientists, quota fixed percentage of women scientists to recruit without sacrificing qualification. Every organization, that means men and women who run the organization, must do more to ensure that women have an equal opportunity to lead or to work. Many studies find out that teams with an equal gender mix perform better than male-dominated and female-dominated. Having more women in relationship position in the center and on the board of CGIAR centers. Highlighting female role models monitoring to encourage young women and their aspiration. Finally, I would like to say the more human interaction we can create, the more women feel like are not isolated. We are all stronger when we stick together. And thank you.
That's really great. Thank you so much, Safa. You know, as a South African a woman researcher, your points really you know, resonate with me. And if you were a leader of a movement, I would follow you. Really wonderful. Thank you so much. And just I just want to take a pause also to bring in some of the really good feedback that we're getting from the Q&A. I see there are, you know, quite a good few experienced women researchers also joining us. I see Monica. There's several others with, you know, decades of experience, really offering to share their skills, to mentor, and that's what WIRES is all about at the end of the day. So thank you so much. And maybe if I can just ask the colleagues also monitoring the Q&A, Rachel McDonald, my colleague at EMI, is there anything else that stood out for you from the Q&A that we can bring in?
Thank you, Inga. No, there's a terrific amount of questions. Some of the main one is, how can I join? How can I volunteer? And it's really very simple. It's wires@cgiar.org. That's wonderful. One of the other questions was asking, what is the difference between a community of practice and an employee resource group? And Fiona gave a really great answer in that an employee research, it's open to everyone. So it isn't about whether you're women, you don't have to be women to join WIRES. It's all about having that shared ambition for supporting women scientists in the group. It is volunteer-led, so there is, and that's what everybody's looking at to support in this. So we very much hope people will continue to ask these questions. We're here to answer those questions and to support. One of the other questions is about mentoring. And we know that male mentors, female mentors, everybody who can bring experience and support to help women along those journeys will be very welcome. So back to you, Inga.
Thanks so much. And you raised a point about the role of men, you know, as enablers, and we're going to get to that in a minute. So thank you for highlighting that, Rachel. Chinyi, I want to quickly go to you, and I am aware of the time. So if you could just briefly share with us, you know, what are those top few things that you feel as a young researcher you need to succeed in your career, or perhaps also in life?
Okay. Thank you so much, Inga. And I feel that the first thing that is needed as a young women researcher is to be confident. It is very easy for a woman to feel less competent with their scientific knowledge and skills compared to men. But the fact is that no one knows everything. So believe in yourself and you are equally qualified as a man researcher. The second quality, I think, is to be grateful. Having a supportive mentor or supervisors is critical in your research career, especially to those early career scientists. So the positive network built with your mentors and collaborators, national, regional, and international partners, and people who inspire you. For example, having the inspiring women scientists as your role model will keep you motivated and broaden your research horizon. So it is important to be sincerely grateful to their support and guidance to foster a positive relationship and also encouraging working environment. Also with an appreciative heart, your mind will automatically be filled with joy and happiness, and you will be more productive in your personal and professional life when you dwell on the happy thoughts. And lastly, try to create a healthy research lifestyles for wellness. Science career often extends beyond the typical 9 to 5 working days. And being a women scientist, particularly those who need to find a balance between motherhood and research career advancement is challenging. So it is important to stay focused, be mindful, and set priority goals. The experts also agree that the never-ending working is damaging, so it hurts the health and overall happiness. So it try to involve in other activities that you love, for example, jogging, doing yoga, painting, practicing meditation, traveling, meeting friends, and so on. So all this will create a healthier, better work-life balance, as just now Safa mentioned. And in return, more efficient and innovative in your research work. So in short, the top 3 things I feel is needed for a women scientists are be confident, be grateful, and have a healthy research lifestyle. Thank you.
Oh gosh, healthy research lifestyle. You're really touching on a sensitive issue here, Chinyi, especially with COVID. You know, I mean, how many of us have really managed to maintain that work-life balance? So very, very important. Thank you so much. Now let's move, folks, to the next part, and really here now I want to ask our would he be the rose amongst the thorn or the thorn amongst the roses? Neil Gutterson from the CGIAR Systems Board and also a GDI champion. Please, if you can also enable your camera. And I'd now also just like to ask Safa and Chinyi, thank you so much for your inputs. If you can just disable, switch off your cameras, we'll get to you in a minute. So welcome, Neil, and thank you for joining the discussion. We'd like now to talk about the how we advance gender equity, right, in the One CGIAR workplace, in implementing the new CGIAR research and innovation strategy. So with that, we can start with Claudia also on top of my screen. Claudia, what do you see is the importance, or what is the importance of women researchers and scientists in delivering this new strategy of ours?
Well, thank you so much, Inga. I think that actually Safa said it best, which is that we know there are decades of data and findings that show that we have that greater diversity brings better quality work. It's the smart thing to do. It's the right thing to do. We know that diverse teams are much more creative. They bring critical thinking from different perspectives, and they really create the most the most robust and innovative research findings. We also know that the stakeholders that we serve are a very diverse group with different strengths and priorities and preferences. And to meet those and to honor those, and therefore to see uptake and impact, we need these much more diverse teams. So if we truly want to have an impact with our new research and innovation strategy, if we really want our research and innovation strategy to be innovative, we need these different perspectives. We need this breadth of expertise and world experience and perspective to bring us the impact that we want. So it's absolutely essential to the work that we do. Thanks, Inga.
Thanks, Claudia. And you know, the CGIAR is already so diverse, and you know, how do we leverage that to implement the mission? So really, thanks for that. Alice, hi. Sorry that I didn't ask you at the onset of this part to switch on your camera. But let me just move now to Neil. Neil, as a GDI champion, how do you see the GDI framework that so many people didn't know where to find it? So good that Fiona shared that link. How will this framework support women scientists and researchers in implementing our new research and innovation strategy, please? Over to you.
Sure thing, Inga. And thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's wonderful to be here on this event that kicks off something so important for the CGIAR. Let me start with a quick observation or reflection. Like Claudia, I was fortunate enough to be in Washington, D.C. 4 years ago. I think it was just today, in fact, at the Women's March. And let's be clear that event kicked off something incredibly special. Because if you look at the U.S. over the past 4 years, it was the power of women that have made such an enormous difference in where our country has gone. It was women of color who made such a difference in critical states in getting a new administration in office, which has been so important for the U.S. and for the world. So the power of women is absolutely clear. So as far as the strategy goes, I think Claudia said it well. This is an ambitious strategy. We have ambitious goals at the board and the leadership level and across the CGIAR. And if we're going to achieve that, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take diversity of thinking, diversity of experience, diversity of nationality. Every aspect of diversity is going to be critical. We know that solving complex problems, we need people coming from many different points of view. And the essence of innovation comes from that nexus of different ways of thinking. And so if we're going to achieve the strategy that we have in mind and deliver on the aspiration for smallholder farmers and their communities around the world, it's going to take all of us with all of our views, with all of our voices. The GDI framework is going to be critical, I think, to helping us deliver on that. If you haven't seen it yet, please do take a look. It has some incredibly important information about the strategy around GDI, around the principles that will follow, the areas of focus. It lays out the architecture for how the GDI function and strategy will be delivered. And it lays out a set of objectives. And I can say on behalf of the board with Alice, that as champions, we will make sure that the board is aware, looking critically at delivery on those objectives, developing metrics to see that we are making progress. And so you can rely on the board to do its part in helping lead and assure that we have a diverse, inclusive workplace where we can all belong and bring our true selves. Back to you, Inga.
Thanks so much, Neil. Really, I mean, if I hear you correctly, the GDI framework is sort of like it's a cog, to make this research and innovation strategy successful and to really implement it, you need that GDI framework. So thank you so much, Alice. I'm going to turn to you and just to ask you to share with us. We spoke about the role of male colleagues, male champions in really helping to support WIRES, in helping to support the GDI framework. Please share with us a little bit of that from your perspective.
Thank you, Inga. I mean, first and foremost, I was very lucky to grow up with a father who was a huge champion of women. He had grown up at a time when women did not go to school. So his sisters didn't go to school and he had gone to school. And he saw that really limited them. And so when he had us, 6 girls, it was an imperative for him to make sure that we went to school, and he pushed that very much, and that we had identity and we had confidence. So for me, 3 key messages about why men should be involved. First and foremost, gender equality is not a women's issue. It's a human rights issue. And it needs the attention of both men and women. It needs a whole of CGIAR approach. Secondly, men have a critical role because most of the time, they're the ones who are going to have the power and have the influence to do so. And in fact, I think most of the time, we tend to leave gender in the hands of women, but really we need to engage men as well so that men are also aware. And lastly, gender equality means better outcomes for both of us. For your science, you've just talked about that, so it is in the interest of both men and women to have that. And there's a lot of science, I think Claudia already said this, that shows the better, where the better outcomes are. So for me, for the CGIAR as a forward-thinking organization, we need to create that space for both women and men to work on these issues, to be part of WIRES. And I'm glad to hear that WIRES is not just open to women, it's open to also men. And I think we need to get the foundation right. I see that getting the foundation right and ensuring that gender equality initiatives the messaging around them shows that both men and women are going to be involved. And we need to make sure, maybe, for example, if all of us are going to have a pledge to ensure gender balance, we have both female and male colleagues. But somebody also talked about earlier about reverse mentoring as well, about making sure that we have women mentoring men on these issues, or men talking about these issues. And just having the networks amongst your colleagues on this, men definitely have a critical role to play. Presentations inspiring male champions of gender equality, networks for peer coaching, having these immersion experiences, everything that can help men understand where we're coming from, and so that they are also able to actually be our champions are extremely important. And I want to pledge, as Neil has said, the board supports as we go forward on this WIRES, to support you in every way we can and support everyone in any way that we can to ensure that this is a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and really, you know, just for emphasizing this fact that WIRES is not just a girls' club; it's about everyone and it's for everyone. And really, we need the support and we need people to participate if we're going to make it work. So thank you, Alice. We don't have time to talk through as discussants as the inner circle, the benefits of of WIRES. So I want to just take this opportunity to thank the panel, thank the discussants, the inner circle, for really this thought-provoking and vibrant discussion. Really, you've set the stage for how we engage, and so now I think it's up to us to really make this work. And now I want to move to the outer circle, if I can call it that. So thanks again, inner circle. And we'd like to load a poll, if that's okay. So Thomas, if you could please load the poll. We'd still like to hear from you in terms of what the key actions and priorities should be for WIRES. It's a multiple choice question, so please tick as many boxes. Oh, you have to choose a maximum of 2, so you have to prioritize as well. And with that now, Agathe, I'm going to hand it over to you. Sorry, I ate into your closing, but you can now please take us home. Thank you so much, Agathe.
Thanks, Inga. This is very fun. Wow, what an insightful session. That was very enlightening. Thank Inga. Thanks all our speakers. Thank Claudia. Thank Alice. Thank Shinyi. Thanks to you, Neil. Thanks, Safa. This was really a good session, very lively. I know that I speak for all of the WIRES founding member when I say that it's great to hear that leadership is strongly supporting the topic of WIRES, Women in Research and Science at CGIAR. And talking about the poll, I think I will also call upon Raquel McDonnell. Do you have more comments on the poll? Maybe you can come in. Raquel is a strategic program manager for IMI. Raquel, please comment on the poll that we can see the result now.
Thank you, Agathe, and what terrific energy and support for what we're trying to do. So, and this is reflected in the questions. So the number one priority is mentoring. So this is something about having that personal relation, somebody can support you, somebody you can ask questions to and help guide you as you go through. And we know that's very much men and women can be involved with that. Another one is a place for channeling ideas in fair and inclusive workplace. So some of this is where can we speak about things that are difficult for us that we have to navigate, some of those issues that Safa brought up today. So this is somewhere where we can come to and we can discuss it, and then we can feed that into the system for maybe, you know, for supporting policies and processes and creating learning opportunities, because we are scientists, we love to learn, we want to know, and what a wonderful platform this could be for us to be able to exchange our latest findings or exciting things we see in science, in nature, or whatever it might be across all our science groups. So back to you, Agathe.
Thank you, Raquel. I think there are many questions that were asked also in the Q&A. Mentoring is keep coming, and I think we will keep in touch with you, and then if we will discuss with you and try to provide some answers and discussion on the topic. Now let's just see from the discussion, we can just understand that WIRES is recognizing excellent CGIARs, women scientists and researchers, and profile them as role model for young women. Then also the mentorship come as a main topic. And this is a place where women can get together and get to know each other. It's not only women. And as a matter of fact, back in July, we are now in this WIRES group. I didn't know any one of the group member, but we have been discussing and meeting on a regular basis. It's like I knew these women from from long time ago. So it's a place to be and then to share and to discuss among ourselves and among in the community members. Before we end this event, we wish to thank everyone who participate. I can see hundreds and hundreds of people participate today session, and we hope that you have learned from our speakers. If you like to participate to upcoming events and receive more information on WIRES, email is wires@cgr.org, and we have upcoming events. Let's say the two major events are the first is on February 11th, International Day of Women and Girls in Science. We are really innovating. There is a marathon, 12 hours knowledge session for young women scientists and researchers. So please reach out to us. The email is there, and also visit our webpage. You will have more information on how to prepare and participate this very important session. The second one is International Women Day, where we also plan to take the opportunity to celebrate with you all. The contact of WIRES you can see on the screen, or please visit our webpage, and the email is wires@cgiar.org. We'll be announcing this activity in the coming days and week through our channels. Therefore, please stay tuned and subscribe. And also, we share all the detail. Anytime you want to discuss with members of the group, we are here. And this session will not have been possible without the support of many support team members. I'd like to start by thanking Thomas Miller, helping us to run all this Zoom event today and registration step. And also I'd like to thank Chris Chaplin from iTalk Communications. His help for all the infographic, all our beautiful logo, you saw it, and the webpage and our social media. We'd like to thank Alan Risher. He has been with us in the beginning of this experience. Unfortunately, he's not with us today, but he's contributed a lot in this long event. Thanks also to Fiona Boudet-Farrell. You heard her from the very beginning. Thanks to all colleagues, the founding member of WIRES, and to you for joining us today. This journey is just starting, so please stay tuned, email to us, visit the webpage, and we stay in touch. With that, I'd like to say thank you to all and wish you a good day and say goodbye for now. Goodbye.